Sundar Reddy to address our new Josephites.
Good morning, dear respected Dr. S.V. Ramanarao Sir, Director, Shivashivani Institute of Management, and Mr. Dominic Savio, Director, Ryan, and faculty members, HOD Ma'am, Dean Academics, and Vandana Ma'am, Srinivas Sir, Ganesh Sir, Martina Ma'am, and Kalyan Sir, Martin Maisa Sir, anybody in the audience? Because most of the faculty members look like students. So it's only the privilege of the principal to welcome the students, and I'm happy to do that. Very happy welcome to St. Joseph's Degree PG College. You are in this college to shape your future. I'm not going to give you a lot of messages because hopefully I will get some time to address you in the classes. Okay, wishing to take some research methodology class or some other thing. If time permits, I will be the happiest person to interact with you on a regular basis. Okay, but for right now, I just want to give you a small message. Suppose you are sitting in a room with a temperature of 25 degrees and you have an ice cube put on table waiting for it to melt. It will not immediately happen. It will take time. You increase the room temperature to 26, 27, 28, 39, 30. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. 31, nothing happens. 32 starts melting slowly. Your desire of watching the ice cube melting begins at 32 and above. The difference between 31 and 32 is just 1. But the action begins at 32. There is no much difference between 31 and 32. But if you count from 25 to 32, there is difference. Suppose you are traveling from Hyderabad to, let us say, New York. The pilot adjusts the degree of direction. It is, I have an example. I'll just read it for you because this terminology is not very quite familiar with you. Suppose imagine you are flying from Los Angeles to New York City. Okay, it is about, you have 225 miles. 225 miles from Los Angeles to New York City. I actually calculated this. Washington DC is about 225 miles from New York City, assuming you are flying on 747 or an Airbus A380, changing the heading by 3.5 degrees. Let us say I am looking this side, changing the degree by 3.5 either this side or that side. Leave degrees as you leave Los Angeles likely causes the nose of the aeroplane to shift between 7.2 to 7.6 feet. I am 6'2" and add one more, so it will touch this roof. So that is the difference of the angle of the aeroplane with its nose. Then what happens? Or about 86 to 92 inches. Then what? Very small shift in direction can lead to a very meaningful change in destination. So instead of you landing in New York City, you will go to some other city. I think you got the message. You are here for 2 years. 365 into 2. Okay. There is one small book. The Atomic Habits. The book name is Atomic Habits. Very nicely explained. First chapter itself. I read it long back. For your sake, I again come back with this idea. Now, each day, you don't have to be excellent in all the things. You don't have to. You can't be also. Suppose you have 10 points on your agenda. In all 10 points, you cannot be excellent in each day. Okay? but try to be excellent at least by 1%. This talks about 1%. You can refer that book, Atomic Habits. It's available online. Read first chapter. You will definitely get motivated. He did it for me. It will also do for you. If you take 1% each day, you know what happens? 1.01 to the power of 365. It comes up to 37.78 change in a year. We must be thinking it's only 1%. And most likely that we forget this 1%. We try to, suppose if somebody tries to lower your weight, reduce your weight, how does it happen? Do you in a day shed your weight by 10 kgs or 100 grams or 250 grams? How do you, is it by kgs or by grams? Unless you go to a doctor and then ask the doctor to cut half of your body, there is no other magic. It will happen in small things, small quantities. My point of talking to you is this: in everything that you do, everything, try to be better by 1%. Suppose you are writing a letter to the principal. Morning one student came late to examination because of diverse reasons. Okay, not needed to explain here. You know the letter, principal, no subject, only principal, no college name, nothing. Principal, and then on a sheet of paper, 2-3 lines, Father, give me permission. They said, principal, which college? Our college, Father. What is our college? This college only, Father. See, I understand. You are in hurry, but development doesn't happen like that. You have to be cautious in all the things that you do. Every minute that you waste today is going to cost you more than what you imagine in your future. Take it for granted. As introduction I was telling that you have your own student life enjoyment, perfect. But enjoyment should not become life. Life has got an angle of enjoyment, happiness, pursuing your own petty things which will give you a lot of satisfaction, hanging with your friends and then going for a movie or an excursion or visiting Sarojini Museum. Nobody will do that, I know. Because nowadays students are not that oriented. Okay. So this is a simple message. Take it. When I have time, I'll talk to you about this entire book in few sessions. Okay. But in everything that you, everything, suppose you are reading today about one subject. Your capacity is, let us say, to sit for 20 minutes. Make it 22 or 25. You're doing yoga, let us say, for 5 minutes. Make it 6 minutes today. After a week, 7 minutes. Your goal will be achieved easily. You want to learn 2 words in a day, new words, or business jargons, or your concepts in your own subjects. Start. There is no good day to start for a good work. Good work need not be started only on good day. It can be any day. Suppose if your own family member is dying, do you look at your watch and say this is Rahu Kalam or Good Kalam? Nothing like that. For good thing, everything is good. If your intentions are pure, all the things will conspire to help you. You have seen that movie, no? Nanak Payanto. Butterfly effect. Have you? See, what is there? Your parents are not there. Only I see one parent there. Proud parent. Welcome, sir. You have seen that movie, right? Jagpati Babu talks about butterfly effect. That means something, somewhere the connection will be there. So, the work or your improvement of your success concept or improvement concept or your career concept, whatever you have, do it better by 1%. Take it as a challenge for your own welfare. Take it as your mission. Just tell yourself, I'm going to do better by 1%. See it after 2 years. I am 100% sure you will make a lot of improvement. It is like example I gave you, flight, directional change of 3.2 degrees or 7 to 8 feet will land you in a different direction. You have x-axis, y-axis. Instead of going that way, you want to reach to that corner. If you start this way, you will reach that way only. And if you have to come back again, you see you have to again travel back. Can I have your attention please there? I'm sorry, I am a principal, so I can't tolerate people talking in between. So your change of direction will land you somewhere. Maybe that may be another good place. You see, Vasco da Gama tried to come to India and they invented, very boring history, America. So instead of you people landing in some other college, you came to St. Joseph's, good. Okay. But instead of joining in a company where you'll be paid 25 lakhs per annum, you can't join in a company where 25,000 you get per annum. Both are not same. So you have that intention of doing 1% better in all the things. Suppose today you come to college late by 1 minute. Tomorrow be early by 1 minute. Day after tomorrow another 1 minute. So you will be before the bell rings. Nobody will stop you. Nobody will ask your ID card. Nobody will ask your number. Nobody will ask. There are a lot of things you'll experience, don't worry. So, with pleasant note of happiness, I welcome with all my faculty members, the guests on the days, with the parent sitting there. I heartily welcome you to St. Joseph's Degree PG College. Keep interacting with me. I will also do the same and have successful, fruitful 2 years life in St. Joseph's. All the best. God bless you.
Thank you, Father, for that wonderful and inspiring message to our new Josephites. Moving forward, I would now request Professor Vandana Samba, Director, Research and Training, Department of Business Management, to introduce our guest of honor. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, my sister. I wholeheartedly welcome Mr. Savio for this wonderful moment. Mr. Savio is a people group HR practitioner for the last 15 years, providing talent advisory in different HR functional areas. Mr. Savio is currently working as Director, People Group and spearheading the Rian India office at Hyderabad, supporting 550 employees and providing international support on human resource advisory to global Rayon offices. Mr. Savio is into the transformation of human resource into more people-oriented people practice, from rolling out offer letters and processing employee exits to driving culture transformation change management. He always believes in the concept of do simple things exceedingly well. And one day with the experience, the simple things will no longer be simple and will become complex and great. Then you end up doing complex things exceedingly well. In the space of talent, Mr. Savio believes that it is necessary for organizations to transform themselves to more people-oriented. It is the office which people spend the second largest part of their life in, so it is important that they are recognized for this. How? Being empathetic and not sympathetic. Ensure a culture of welcoming and acceptance. The reluctance of the employees meeting a HR person, it was a taboo. Constant focus to remove this perception. With this brief introduction, we wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, to the St. Joseph's family. Over to Maisa.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I will take this opportunity to welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Savio Dominic, Director of Rayon People Group, to address our new Josephite. We welcome you, sir.
so much, ma'am, for the introduction. And I personally thank the management of St. Joseph College, Reverend Father Sundar and Mr. Srinivas for extending this invite. And also I thank Dr. Ramna Rao, who is here from Sri Vaswani Institute of Management. It's a competition from his area, and he voluntarily agreed to come over here to address and share his knowledge with you all. And all of applause for him. I work for Nine India Tax Services, which is into US taxation basically. So I head the people group function, which is also called as human resource. I am a director there at Nine India Tax Services. I have been associated with this organization since last 8 years. Few things that I would like to share with you as you embark on this journey of your career shaping. As Father rightly mentioned, these 2 years are very crucial for you. And Father also brought in the topic of movies, right? So at this age, yes, many of you will be interested in movies, but like as Father said, that is not life. So you'll have to put certain focus into your education, because this group that you have chosen, that is the MBA, right? That is giving an option of diverse opportunities for you. Unlike professional courses where you venture into, but it gives you only one path of direction. Say for example, if you choose BTech, right? Where you like to? BTech, multiple streams are there, right? Say computer engineering, you'll end up being a software engineer, right? Right? But MBA is not like that. It gives you diverse opportunities to venture and look out for multiple opportunities that are there for you guys. Okay, but again, I would like to stress this point here. When MBA, you have chosen MBA, right? When it comes to diverse opportunities, you need to look at your personal interest also, what your personal interest is into. And apart from learning, you need to develop your character also, which forms the crux of your nature, right? When we hire students or candidates from the market, apart from the qualification, the most important thing that we look out for candidates is the attitude that they have. What is attitude? Your behavior, right? Which defines you as a person. So that is the crucial part that we look into when we interview candidates. So there can be an end to educational qualification, but there is no end to learning. Is there an end to learning? Right? That is sustainable, and that is an indispensable asset for you, which you need to focus more upon. So how do we learn well? How do we learn well? Attaining the qualification, getting pass marks and getting the certification is very easy. You can do it by hook or by crook. But I would advise you to put in hard work to get that qualification. But apart from the qualification, how do you learn well? Yes, anybody? How do you learn well? Yes?
Practicing. By practice.
Practice. Okay? By paying attention to the lectures. Being regular to the classes, right? The 2 years, be regular to classes. Under multiple circumstances, I can understand, okay, but being regular to classes and don't miss out any classes so that you gain that knowledge, right? So when you gain that knowledge, nobody can take that from you. Can anybody take your knowledge? Nobody. Okay, because this knowledge, when you gain this knowledge, you are able to talk through about what you learned. If you just read through, you just remember as long as it is there in your mind. But when you learn, it remains throughout. Got it? Any questions? Alright. So how many of you here have discussed your career prospects, that your career interest with your parents? How many of you? Raise hands. Were they supportive?
Yes.
Yes? Anybody who was not supportive? I'm sorry, sir, you being a parent, I'm just asking this question. Anybody who was not supportive? In my age group, and I was in the education, doing my education, that was not the case. That point of time, most of the parents, are not going to listen to anything. You are writing your MSET and you are doing your BTech. Everybody went into BTech. Okay, none of the parents were readily telling their kids, children, okay, you take CEC. What is CEC? Civics, Economics, Commerce, not Tom and Jerry classes. Right? civics economics commerce at that point of time, 10 plus 2, it was civics economics commerce, right? None of the parents told to take up CEC and do BCom, right? So that time the career guidance was very limited, and that was the case with me also. But I'm very fortunate that my parents did not force me to do as per their will, because what happens is parents live their dreams through their children. Okay, and it is our responsibility also to fulfill their dreams through us, right? Okay, but there's always a discussion point which you can discuss. If you are not of the opinion of your parents, you can discuss in an amicable way. Not stop eating food, okay, not going out, not talking to them. That is not the solution. Discuss in an amicable way, like this is the thing that I want to do, and these are the prospects, right? But when this generation of the NSET and the BTech happened, later point of time when I joined the organization that was Deloitte at that point of time, you know what? The CEC guys were earning more than the BTech guys. So that was an eye-opener for the parents, right? But not everybody can be successful in BTech or this one, the CA or the BCom or the CEC. Okay, it's upon the individual. Okay, the individual has to put in their hard work in terms of learning, not getting that qualification. Got it? So there are many who completed BTech but they are not successful. Many who completed CA but they are not successful. Okay, but their knowledge and what they have implemented and learned, that came into effect, and then they were successful. Any questions now? Okay. So before I conclude, I want to bring out certain points, okay, which might be useful. I will share these points across to Srinivas, which can share along with you guys, right? So for you to be a great leader, everyone wants to lead some team or be in a great position in some company, or if you are planning to start your business also, that is also leading, right? You need to be a leader at some point of time. Even if you take the political channel also, you need to lead, right? For you to be a great leader, you need to be a good follower. If you are not a good follower, then you cannot lead, right? So over the years, I have worked with multiple leaders, okay, in their respective field like operations, people group, human resources. So these were the leaders that I worked for, right? And when I was working with them, okay, so when you follow somebody, there are good things as well as bad things also that you can learn from them. So what will you retain? What will you retain? Definitely good things, right? So out of those experience that I had working with them, I learned certain concepts, the statements put across by them. I read out those statements. So do simple things exceedingly well. There is no job big or small. So there are 4 statements that I put across. The first statement is, do simple things exceedingly well. There is no job big or small. You must have be graduating from the MBA. You must get the graduation, MBA graduation. Okay, you might think that when you venture out into getting a job, they do tell you to take a photocopy. Oh, I am an MBA graduate. Photocopy is not my kind of work. What is the first impression that the other person gets? Attitude. Right? Is of not the right attitude. I made a mistake hiring this person. So, trust me, there is no job big or small. Everything is equal. Okay? And with the right attitude, if you take up, you will flourish. Second point, it is fine to lose battles, but it is a disaster to lose character. Everybody agrees to this? So character is very important. Stick to that. And all these 4 statements that I am going to make are interlinked. And the last statement is the most important, which defines all the statements. So the third statement is, make mistakes. It helps you to learn. But at the same time, don't repeat the same mistake. You are not going to learn out of the same mistake. Right? So do not make same mistake, and do not make serious mistakes where you do not get a second chance. So be very careful when making mistakes also. Mistakes will teach you, okay, but not at the cost of an extreme penalty. Got it? For example, integrity. Okay, I'll talk about integrity. What is integrity? Being rightful. Okay, so if you are not rightful and you do some mistake, which your conscience tells that is not right, So that is a mistake, but that is a costly mistake. We should not give you a second chance. Clear? So the last statement, work on 4 pillars of character. So there are 4 pillars of character which defines a character. Those are basically this will help you in terms of running extra miles in your career, your life, okay, and this helps you to sustain as well. So what are those 4 things? Integrity, being rightful, accountability. What is accountability? Being answerable, ownership, that is accountability, right? Forgiveness. You cannot carry the burden of what? Burden of not being forgiven. Okay, if somebody has done a mistake against you, okay, you keep that in your heart. Okay, the other person will move on, but that burden will remain in your heart. You will not feel like. Okay, you need to forgive the other person, no matter what. It's okay, forgive. And then compassion. So you need to be compassionate towards others. So these are the 4 pillars of character. Do not lose this, please. And work upon these 4 pillars of character. I am sure not only in your career, in your personal life also, you will flourish. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was wonderful for sharing valuable insights in knowledge and career development. Now, moving forward, I will now request Professor N. Srinivas, Director of Career Development Center, Department of Business Management, to introduce our chief guest. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, my sister. Good morning, all of you. It's my honor and privilege to read the profile of Professor Dr. S.V. Ramana Raghuvaru. Dr. S.V. Ramana Raghuvaru is a director at Shivashivani Institute of Management, Secunderabad. He is a postgraduate in management and stood 8th in Sri Krishna Devaraya University, Anantapur, Andhra Pradesh, and subsequently completed MPhil from Algappa University, Tamil Nadu. Dr. Rao obtained his PhD from Center for Economic and Social Sciences in the area financial derivatives. He worked in various colleges and institutions over a period of 27 years, both in India and abroad. Prior to coming to the academics, he worked as a marketing executive in few companies for a brief stint. Dr. Rao's teaching career started with P.P. Siddhartha College, Vijayawada, later moved to RVR and J.C. College of Engineering, Guntur, and from there landed in Tapai Management Institute, Manipal. In the year 2007, he moved to Hyderabad and started working for Shivashivani Institute of Management till date. During 2008-11, for a period of 3 years, he moved to Oman and then to work as a faculty member in Business Studies Department at Shiraz College of Technology, Oman, and rose to the level of head of the department. After working in a foreign land for 3 years, he joined back with Shivashivani Institute of Management as a professor and head of the department, Finance. His areas of interest includes corporate finance, capital markets, investment management, international finance, and financial derivatives. At Shivashivani Institute of Management, Dr. Rao worked as assistant professor, area chief, and now the director. He is an active member in research and published around 25 articles both at national and international journals, having Scopus Index. He presented papers in various conferences organized by the colleges and institutions, includes Indians premium institutes like Indian School of Business Management, and Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow and Europe. In the year 2017 and 18, his paper received Best Paper Award at ICBM Business School, second and third national conference on management research. Contemporary perspectives conducted by the ICBM Business School, Hyderabad. Dr. Rao had also written cases and presented various cases competitions organized by the institutions. He is also guiding the student for their doctoral degrees and this. Recently, one of his students received a PhD from the Krishna University, Machilipatnam. Dr. Rao's research articles have number of citations, H-index and Einstein index scores. He has conducted national and international seminars and given invited talks. He is a qualified GST trainer and acted as a resource person in the various GST training programs. Dr. Rao also conducted a training program to executives and managers, corporations like NTPC, Singareni Calories Company Limited, etc. He is also a research person in various FDP. Sir received a Best Director Award from AIMS RCM 32 AIMS Annual Management Education Convention held during 26 and 28 August 2001. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Well, we welcome you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now take this privilege to invite our chief guest, Dr. S.V. Ramana Rao, Director of Shiva Shivani Institute of Management, to address our new Joseph Rights. We welcome you, sir.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, Father Dr. D. Sundar Reddy, Principal, Mr. Dominic Xavier, Director, Ryan Tax, all faculty colleagues, students and parents. Good morning to one and all. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all of you for choosing management education for your career building. You must be aware that management education has entered a period of profound transition because of the changes that are happening at global level. Probably in classroom you come across a terminology called globalization, and everyone is witnessed, experiencing, and day in and day out we are living with technology that has brought many changes in the business world. And also there were many changes at demographic level. Probably you must be hearing from our Prime Minister saying that India has got a demographic dividend and we need to leverage. So this has brought in many changes the way businesses are being conducted. To make you ready for the business, in case you wanted to get a job or when you wanted to start your own business, an institution like this would help you and will mold you and would sharpen your skills so that you would be ready for the industry. And that way you have to give a big round of applause to the institution builder and the faculty who is going to mentor, guide and help you out to realize your dreams. Please. Probably during your graduation you must have come across a word called Industrial Revolution, IR 4.0. What is it? It has brought bringing in many changes in terms of artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, and Internet of Things. They are all intervening and merging with human lives. And these changes are drastically altering how individuals, companies, and governments operate, and also ultimately leading to societal transformation. Now the biggest question is, as an young budding managers, are we ready for this? Can we do something, or can we contribute and sail through these changes that are happening at economy level or at the industry level? Probably each one of you have to make introspection and see where you stand and where we have to go so that you can survive with this kind of changes that are happening around the world. Industry 4.0 is expecting a new kind of a worker or a new kind of an employee. Probably we call it as a knowledge worker. And these knowledge workers need to be led by an management graduate like you. To lead this kind of a workforce, each one of you have to have certain set of skills. Probably you should be a very, very critical thinker. And also you must be a problem solver, because day in and day out, each one of us or at the corporate level, there will be n number of problems. Being a manager, you should be in a position to provide a solution rather than becoming a problem to the management. Then only your survival and your longevity will go up. Apart from that, you need to be an innovator. Unless you find something new, the way you are doing the things, the efficacy part will not go up. If you don't think something new, or if you don't come out with a new process or a new way of doing the things will become routine, and also you will not make any improvements. You cannot bring any change that is expected by the organizations. Apart from this, whatever the knowledge, whatever the skills that you have, you should be in a position to communicate. You should be able to put forward your thoughts. You should be able to bring your ideas to the table, across the table, so that the other people could understand what you are intended to communicate, what you wanted to say or wanted to get from the people that you are working with. With this small note, I would like to take you through two small stories, probably that will help us to understand what kind of skill set that, or what kind of qualities as a human being we should have, so that you can realize your dreams and at the same time you can take care of your parents, or also the society where we are in, because society is much bigger than a small family in the society. Ultimately, as a human being, we should be in a position to contribute to the society, so that society will give us back for a healthy living. There is one girl who was born in Uttar Pradesh, Ambedkar Nagar, in 1989. Her father is in Indian Army and mother is a health worker. She loves cycling, football, but finally her heart goes for volleyball, and then she represented the state 7 times. She is interested to join paramilitary forces, but finally she got a call to attend an interview for CISF, Central Industrial Security Force. So for that, she boarded a train in 2011, 12th April, Padmavati Express from Lucknow, and en route. Robbers were got into the compartment and then started robbing the people, and when finally her turn comes, they were trying to snatch her bag and the chain, and she was resisting, and finally she was thrown out of the moving train. Can you guess whom I am referring? Okay, think about that. And you know that we have a two-way rail system, and where 2 trains can go at the same time in opposite direction. And when she was thrown out of the moving train, in the other direction there was a train coming and she was hit. And leg was cut. It was in the night. She was screaming for help. But till morning, none has come to help her. Only in the morning, the villagers who are passing by have seen her. Thank God that she was still conscious. and immediately she was rushed to the nearby hospital. And then after getting that initial treatment, then she was moved to AIMS Delhi. During that time, there were many news that were in circulation. Police did not buy the idea that there were robbers who have thrown her from the running train, and they have come out with their own stories, and then she was not so happy with the way the news were in circulation. And she has decided that she wanted to prove to the world that she is capable of. And then she can go back to the volleyball and then play. And during the treatment, she lost one leg completely. And one private company has given her the artificial leg and decided to climb Mount Everest. And then she met Bachendri Paul. She was the first woman who scaled the Mount Everest. Then under her guidance, she took training, and with that one artificial leg, and though it was not completely cured, but still practiced, within 2 years, she was ready for the expedition of Mount Everest. And with the fellow mountaineer, they started their journey and finally went up to the Mount Everest. But during that journey, they faced a lot of hardships. The moment they start climbing, then after such a level, the oxygen levels were not sufficient, and they need to carry the oxygen cylinders along with them, whoever goes for the trekking. And at some point of time, they have seen all around the dead bodies for various reasons, who are not physically strong, able to cope up with the climatical changes. Finally, they died. But in spite of all this one, she did not lose her heart. And then finally on 2013, May 21st at 10:55 a.m., she reached to the pinnacle point and hoisted the Indian flag. And by that time her oxygen cylinder levels were down, but still she stayed there for a few minutes and took the videograph and said to her fellow mountaineer that in case I die, please post this video to my country so that people will know that I am capable, I can do the things. And she was the first woman aptitude to climb the Mount Everest. And she has proven the world that yes, I am capable, though I am handicapped. So I am referring to Arunima Sinha. She is the lady who did this miracle. And after that, she traveled to 6 different continents and claimed like in 2014, she scaled the Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and again Mount Elbrus at Europe, and Mount Casino at Australia, and Ecuador in South America. And she was the first woman to achieve this kind of a glory, just because of her determination and the passion and the belief system that she has got, made her to prove the world that though she was hurt physically and mentally, did not give up and proven the world that she can. These are some of the qualities that each individual should have as a student. If you have these kind of qualities, if you develop this kind of a passion for achieving what you wanted to have, I'm pretty sure and confident that India would stay up, or rather would stand first in its economic front to the entire world. The only problem is that we are habituated to certain things. I'm very sorry to bring to your notice, because I have been observing and interacting with young minds like you in my profession for almost 20 plus years, and of late, the mobile, that has become, a distraction for the learning process. How many of you can stay without mobile for 1 hour? It's very good to see that in case if you are not pretending. Okay, if it is true, yes, you must give a big round of applause for that. Suppose if you continue with the same, I am sure that what Father has mentioned that 1% of change every day would really make you to cherish your dreams. But unfortunately, I've seen my own kids at home. Without looking into the mobile, they cannot sit for 1 hour with a book. And very unfortunate that, nobody is reading textbook nowadays. But fine, internet definitely will help you to gain knowledge, but it's only peripheral in nature. You can learn only the basic or elementary aspects of it. In case you wanted to gain knowledge, because 3 things are most important for you to succeed in your life. One is knowledge. I am sure and confident that St. Joseph faculty here would help you to gain the necessary knowledge so that you can survive for another 50 years in your career. They will also help you to acquire, procure, sharpen the skills that are required. And attitude is another important aspect. Mr. Dominic has rightly mentioned that the most important thing that helps you to forward on these two attitude, this knowledge and the skills. These are the 3 skills or the 3 aspects that are most important for you or either your survival mantra. Now, let's come back to another small story, and I hope that this will also help you to understand how people are. There's a boy born in one of the villages in Telangana, born without eyes, blind. And villagers have advised the parents to throw away this boy so that they will not have the trouble of grooming or upbringing this boy throughout because it's going to be a liability or rather a burden for the parents. That's what the villagers thought, but thank God that the parents did not do that one. And also the father is a farmer, and then they are not very rich. You can say that the boy born in a poor family. They attended school in nearby village. The nearby village is 5 kilometers away where there is a school. He used to attend the school by walking almost, this many kilometers. And in the school also he was pushed to the back bench, not allowed to play with all other people, and also there is no acknowledgement of his presence. He felt that he was the poorest child in the world, not because of lack of money, but because of loneliness. So after some time, the father realized that the school education is not helping. So then he has brought this boy to Hyderabad and put in one of the schools meant for specially needy people. And that school has transformed this boy, and he scored 90% at 10th class. And apart from that, he acquired the skills in playing chess and also as a good cricket player. And you know how much he has scored in plus 2? See, when he wanted to do science stream in plus 2, there is no provision for that. And finally he went to the court, fought with the government. After 6 months, the government has released an order saying that this boy can be admitted into the science stream at his own risk. He took the admission and scored with 98%. And the struggle did not stop there. He applied to IITs and BITS, and he received one letter saying that, I'll just read out, you are blind, hence you are not allowed to apply for competitive exams. Then what this boy did? He searched and found that in US there are certain colleges or the universities that give admission to the blind people. Then he got admission in 4 prestigious universities in US. One is MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, and College Mellon. He took admission in MIT with scholarship, and he was the first international blind student in the history of MIT. He completed his education, came back to India. What is he now? Whom I am referring? He is none other than Mr. Bolla Srikanth. He started his own industry, and he takes only the people who are uneducated and disabled only. He is running 6 factories in Hubli, Nizamabad and in Hyderabad. Today his turnover is 70 crores per annum. And he is producing the products which are eco-friendly. Now, the story tells us few aspects. One is the belief system that this boy and the parents has got. Unless you have a very, very strong belief system, you cannot sustain, you cannot lead your life. And you guys should not leave your hope in case you encountered any hardships. See this boy born without eyes, he could not see anything, but still he has proven the world that even a blind man can do, a disabled man can do. But fortunately, we are all having whatever all required for a human being. But still people try to blame either the parents or the system that we are in. We should not resort to such kind of a thing. We must be thankful to the God and the parents and the society we are living in. There are 2 aspects here. One is the passion. The other one is the belief system. The third one is how do you communicate yourself. Normally when we think of a communication, we thought that or we think that how are we going to put forward our ideas. It's not only that. The internal communication, the kind of signals that you send to your brain, that's the most important one. That makes you to decide your course of action. That makes you to react to a particular situation. You must be very, very strong enough with this. With all this, I am sure that you are going to be a successful management graduate. You will have a very, very bright future, and I am sure that you all will be coming out with the flying colors from these portals of St. Joseph. I wish you all good luck, and I am very thankful to St. Joseph for providing me an opportunity to stand before you and to share few things that I felt it is important for a student who has taken admission and who is starting their first day as a management graduate. Why it is important is because when you say that, if somebody asks you what are you doing, you will proudly say that I am doing MBA, isn't it? And after 2 years, you should be able to tell with the same rigor and with the same pitch. That comes only if you are able to equip yourself. If you don't equip yourself, I am sure that after 2 years, if somebody asks you what is that you have done, what you are doing, you would say that I have done MBA. Because you wanted to pitch it at very, very low level so that you will not foresee any further questions wherein you are frightened to answer some of the questions, because society has gotten a different expectation the moment you claim yourself that you are a management graduate. So for that, these 2 years, you should make use very, very productively so that you can achieve wonders. Once again, wishing you all good luck and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, it was a wonderful and inspiring message. Moving forward, as a token of thanks and appreciation, we would like to felicitate our guests with the mementos and shawl. May I request our beloved principal to do the honors?